Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome to our resumed, rebooted, restarted, whatever you want to say, Coldborough Park Farm. This is the first time. This is actually the first video that I will have actually recorded, gameplay and all that stuff in the summer season with the Seasons mod. So as you all know, and I'll start walking and continue talking and go ahead and set things up and tell you guys all what's been going on here. So as you know, I did sort of cease production, recording, etc. of gameplay on Coldborough Park Farm about a week ago. Now, a week ago, I'm saying my time. So this is Saturday morning. This is Saturday morning, the 28th of January, and you guys are going to watch this on. You guys are going to watch this on Tuesday, and I don't know what the date is. Tuesday, maybe something like the 31st of January, something like that. Anyway, and so the last episode, or the last time I played Coldborough Park Farm, was, like I said, about a week ago. You guys saw an episode, the last episode of that, about a week ago. And that was really when I began hearing that we were close, that we were very, very close to the release of version 2 of Coldborough Park Farm, and that, once that became available, then obviously I would want to immediately start playing that. Now, I do just want to point out for the record here and just say that these crop lines that you're seeing, this is not the fault of the map. This is not the fault of BulletBill. We can even get a little bit better picture of it here looking at it on our large map here, and you'll see these lines go through. This is, best I can determine, something to do with the Seasons mod, and we saw this exact same thing with the growth mod, which was sort of what I had sort of started out this series trying to use, and then I actually pulled the growth mod and restarted Coldborough Park Farm. So this is actually like the third time that I have actually restarted this map. But of course, I've saved you all of the gory details on getting up to this particular point in time. I think the last episode that we recorded on version 1, we were getting pretty close to this stage anyway. I mean, obviously, when we restarted it, we had crops ready to harvest, and we were harvesting in what we might have considered spring and all that stuff. But now with Seasons mod, we are now the first game day of summer. So this is actually game day 4. So this would represent the first month of the summer season. So if we think about summer beginning in late June, so this is sort of the late June to late July day that we're covering here. And we have a lot of stuff to do on the farm with all the changes and stuff that we have with the map and with Seasons mod and all that kind of stuff. So without further ado, we need to get started. This is a very cool new mixing wagon, the Keenan mixing wagon that's in the mod hub. Now, I am probably going to, if I can back up to it here, I'm probably going to do a mod review of this at some particular point in time, just because it's pretty cool. Now, there is a problem with it, and it's sort of, this is my opinion of it, and of course, this type of mixing wagon would probably be used more for bulk straw, bulk hay or grass, and then bulk silage, obviously, because you've got those heavy-duty bars there that run along the top of it that I would think would be more designed to make sure that any sort of large objects, sticks or stuff like that, wouldn't penetrate through those bars and into the area that's doing the mixing and such. Unfortunately, obviously, we're dealing with belled products here, belled silage, belled straw, hay, grass, etc. So, unfortunately for us, we're doing things a little bit different. And as far as I'm concerned, especially on this map here, because we don't really have the place for the bulk storage of items. I mean, I suppose we could put it in here, put some of it in here, but yeah, we're not gonna do that. So what I did was I modded. Let me just kind of tell you that by default, and I should have put a little bit more space between the hay bales and the straw there, shouldn't I have? I'll have to do that next time. And by the way, I was able to I don't want 3. I want 2. There we go. I was able to just port over my vehicle XML file, which brought over the hay and all of our vehicles and everything that we had as well, which saved me a tremendous amount of time. Unfortunately, we do have wool sort of running amok. We have lots of wool. I've moved some of it over there, as you can kind of see, over to just in front of the JCB by the silage clamp there. You'll see I've put some wool there. The new spawning place for wool is exactly where you see it, and I think that, I don't know, I think I liked it spawning back here. You know, it used to spawn back in the loading zone where you would unload your sheep. I think I liked it better there because it was out of the way. You know, with that tree, with some of the other obstacles and stuff that we have in here, and I know I'm spiking this, but obviously we're going to use this bell immediately, and so spiking it isn't an issue. I think we would have a greater issue by putting the wrap and the silage all into the mixing wagon at the same time, but obviously the game doesn't penalize us for that. But okay, so back to my the modification that I did on this mixing wagon. So the first time I saw this mixing wagon, Landy Kid was using it on Sandy Bay, I believe, and he was attempting to try to mix up a load of total mix rations, power food, and the capacity by default, if you were to go out to the mod hub and download this this mixing wagon, and like I said, it is available on the mod hub, by default it is 9,500 liters capacity. Okay, so again, if you're dealing in and I know we're gonna lose a bell here, I have a feeling. I don't need that top, I only need 1. So my stacking job was actually not as bad as it actually looks. You might remember back a few game days ago, back in the first series of Coldborough Park Farm before the updated map. Obviously this is the first one of that, so you know, possibly 2 weeks or so ago I was bringing some hay down, and the bell started shaking because when you get close to anything that, you know, logs or bells or whatever, they tend to shake. But anyway, okay, about this story about this mixing wagon. So Landy Kid was trying to use it, and he had actually modded it himself, which sort of gave me the idea that it could actually be done. He modded it up to 12,000 liter capacity, but he was also still using baled products. Okay, so if you're going to mix total mix rations, so let's go back to class here for a minute, folks. So we know that total mix rations, in order to make total mix rations, it is typically, especially if you're using bells, and if the bells are 4,000 liter capacity bells, you are typically using 1 straw bell, either let's see, I want to change active side right. Yeah, there we go. So it's 1 straw bell, and that's sort of the the filler. Okay, if you think about it from a just a filler perspective, that we're basically just sort of thinning the mix down. It is 1 bale of straw, and either 2 bales of hay and 1 bale of silage, or 2 bales of silage and 1 bale of hay. Hang on. Left shift 6. There we go. Okay, I had this issue before, and I ended up having to just come in from this other direction over here to get it to actually work. For whatever reason, I couldn't manage to get it to change directions, and I need to get that HUD out of the way. All right, so let me just so anyway, it's impossible to, unless you're doing bulk stuff, and most people are going to do baled products, especially on a map like this. If you're using a map like, for example, by Stevie, where he gives you, sorry about the loud cows and everything, they're hungry. If you're using a map like Stevie gives you, where you have lots of bulk storage capacity, then obviously you could use bulk storage, but we're not doing that here. And so to make total mixed rations, especially with baled items, you're basically talking about 16,000 liter capacity minimum that you need in order to make mixed rations. So 9,500 liters wouldn't do it, and 12,000 won't do it either, because you basically, I suppose you could do 12,000 if you loaded straw last, but you're going to lose with each time you load a straw bale, you're going to lose some of that straw, because it's basically going to it's going to fill the mixing wagon to the 12,000 liter capacity, but you're not going to get the full benefit of the full bale. So you're going to actually be throwing straw away. Now, straw is probably the cheapest. It's probably the cheapest to make item. Okay, in our arsenal of materials that we would use for animal food, straw is probably the cheapest, because it doesn't really cost us anything to make it, because it is a byproduct of the harvesting of wheat or barley process. But at the same time, do we really want to just throw it away? Do we really just want to throw it away unnecessarily? The same could be said if you failed to put straw in last, you'd be throwing away silage or grass or hay or something like that. So what I did was, just to simplify things, I modded the mixing wagon to 16,000 liter capacity. If you take a look at it, it's really not, the mixing wagon is really not that much smaller than the in-game one, which obviously is set for 16,000 liters. The reason why I wanted to use this mixing wagon, quite honestly, is because it looks actually fantastic. It's a very well done model. Lots of detail and whatnot. So I'll cover all of that in probably in the mod review that I'm planning to release this week about that. Now I feel I think I would sort of feel bad about showing you all how to actually mod it. I can sort of just talk you through, and maybe in the mod review I'll just show the line that actually needs to be changed. And of course, I would just remind you that anytime you mod a mod that you're not the author of, the developer of, you basically cannot, should not, never, ever do you want to upload that or make that available outside of your own personal use, because basically you don't have the right to do that. I think that, you know, I think that a lot of people will take a map, for example, and they will make changes to that map to suit their individual tastes and whatnot. And we've got a pile of manure here, because again we've got 100 cows, and they're just producing manure. So it's probably a bit unrealistic to drive this telehandler up that pyramid of manure, but we'll deal with this manure pile soon enough and get that out of here. So let's see. So what I'm doing here, this is obviously something that is brand new to the map. You know, it didn't function in version 1, and so yeah. So basically, the cows, and it's only the cows, the pigs. The pigs, you do not have to muck out the pigs. They have the auto, auto mucker outer process, and you can just kind of think, well, that's your hired hands that's doing that for you. But yeah, we do have to muck out the cows. Unfortunately, I like the way that it worked in Coldborough Park Farm for FS15 better than I like how it does this for 17. But this is not down to BulletBill. This is basically a giant's thing, the way that it piles up in the shape of a pyramid. You know, if you played Coldborough Park Farm for Farm Sim 15, you do know that we had to muck out the cow barn here in 15, and it, you know, basically the way it looked, it sort of looked like our straw here, just evenly laid out across the floor, across the ground, and it was much from a visual perspective of actually doing the process of mucking out, and as well as sort of the visual representation of what it looked like on the ground. It was much more appealing in Farm Sim 15 than it is in 17. The cows, if you let it pile up here, it's going to form sort of a gigantic pyramid in the middle there of the room. And by the way, if you look at your statistics over here on your animals, this here represents what's inside of the cow shed, not what is back here, I believe. We'll check that, 16,939, but I'm pretty sure it's registering what's inside the cow facility and not piled out here, because basically the game by default, the way Giants configured it was, you know, manure is sort of automatically piled up for you. So all BulletBill did, if I sort of understand, we'll check that, 16,939. Yeah, so 16,939 was the number that we had. So it's registering what's in the middle. So the Giants process is to basically just pile the manure up someplace. Obviously, in most of the default maps, it does it in a little defined area that actually similar to where we're dumping it. It's what it looks like, anyways. And so all BulletBill did when he designed this map was he just placed that point of which the manure collects and piles up. He placed that here in the dairy shed, in the cow shed. And so as a result of that, this is where the manure piles up, okay? And then what we're really doing is we're just taking advantage of the dump anywhere feature, and he just left a sort of defined manure heat location, which would, you know, match up with what a rural farm would do to store their manure until they had enough of it to either sell or to use as fertilizer, whatever the case may be. So obviously we're reaching that point. I don't know how much we have here, but I've done this every game day just to keep it from literally piling up too much inside. But unfortunately, kind of the way that it works is that if we're not Johnny on the spot with this, then a giant pyramid of manure will form inside the cow shed, and you'll come home, or you'll come to the cow shed one day and you'll find Bessie or Elsie or whatever standing up on top of the pile of manure, um, and so obviously you don't want that to happen. So yeah, we've got I guess we've got a tractor that needs refueling soon. So for whatever reason, and I have no idea, because I basically started this map with the Seasons mod installed, and set it for 3 game days for season. So basically, there's three game days in spring, 3 game days in summer, etc. And one field number 17, we actually lost to withering, and I have no idea why that happened. None of the other fields were affected. I did absolutely no planting on this map at all. Basically, everything that you see is was done basically by BulletBill. This is all, you know, pre-set up stuff, because every field that you own in this map has something planted on it, and so yeah, so as a result, for whatever reason, that field withered on us, and I really don't know why. But that's okay. I mean, it's going to give us something. It's going to give us something to do. So what I'm actually planning to do with that, as we let's see, is that R? Yeah, R to refill. We're actually going to haul some milk and sell it this morning here. With the remaining time that we have, we've got maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I may stretch this episode out just a little bit longer than our normal half hour, just because I've got a lot to, you know, I've had a lot to update you on. And so yeah, so I put down the stop milk resell, or stop milk sell at midnight placeable, which is this little sign that's in German that says something or another. I don't know what that says. If anyone speaks or reads German and wants to leave a comment as to what that actually is translated to, I'm assuming milch is milk, and is that illegal or something? I don't know. But anyway, you can post that translation. There you go. So the sign there, post the translation of what that says in the comments. If you speak German, read German. I do not, and unfortunately neither, well, my wife does. Well, she speaks and reads a little bit of German. She's not fluent in German. She's fluent in French and English and Dutch, but not German. All right, so we've got 22,000. Let me get in cab here, because we do have traffic now. And let me tell you something, these guys here, they drive like crazy. They honestly do. So much so that, you know, I like traffic on a map. You know, I am not familiar with this region of England. In other words, I have never been here. I have been, see, I mean, look how they just run right out there. I have never been to this particular region where Coldborough Park Farm exists in real life. However, but I have been to many rural country areas within England, and I can tell you that an area like this, in my opinion, based on my experience of what I've seen, you know, obviously we'll have some traffic, but it won't have a whole lot of traffic, I don't think. I guess it kind of depends on time of day and all those kind of day of week and all those kind of scenarios and stuff like that. But so we will leave the traffic. As I said, the traffic is kind of cool. We'll see how it, you know, how it works out. I have already, I guess part of the challenge for me with this map is remembering that now traffic is on, because I've played this map so much in 17 without traffic being turned on and never having to really worry about looking both ways and all that kind of stuff, that the first hour or two that I played the map, just getting things kind of set back up again, I failed to look both ways a couple of times and literally got T-boned by a pickup or a car or something like that. So we will have to be on our our best defensive and offensive driving skills and all that good kind of stuff. So we'll get out of cab here where we can kind of look. So I placed the I forgot about this this wouldn't be too natural probably doing it this way, but no harm no foul. And we will spin our camera around, and we will back up into our drop zone here and unload our first load of milk that we're selling to the dairy. And we're getting some money coming in. That'll be kind of good. I reset our money back to more or less where we were with the last episode that we did in version 1. And obviously, you know, time goes by, maintenance costs, all that good kind of stuff. You know, we did actually have a lot of money that we spent that we didn't have coming in. So we'll see how valuable milk is here. 6,749 pounds. So not bad considering that we've got quite a bit of it actually. So we had, I guess, the vehicle XML file also ported over. There I go again, not looking both ways. Actually ported over the amount of milk that we had accumulated in version 1, and then obviously playing a couple of game days, fast forwarding time and everything, keeping the animals 100% productive, because I did do that each game day, was I made sure they had plenty of food and water and all that good kind of stuff, and so their productivity remained at 100% during the fast forward stage. And so we're really sitting at, you know, with much more like wool and milk than what we would have probably done, but that's okay. You know, we're just gonna consider that a good harvest. And so naturally the seasons mod will control milk wool production. I don't think it controls milk production, because I don't think, and I'm not a dairy farmer, remember I'm an IT guy, but I don't think that dairy production per se is necessarily less volume and everything in the wintertime. Just because you're keeping your cow, you know, real life dairy is going to obviously keep their cows fed and healthy and all that stuff 365 days a year. And so, you know, milk consumption and everything doesn't, you know, people are going to drink milk, or you're going to need milk for whatever you've got going on, irregardless of whether it's, you know, seasonal or not. I can understand why wool might be less, you know, less production, less available, etc. But all right, we'll stretch our hose out. Didn't get as close this time as I did the last time, but that's okay. So I hope you all are having a wonderful week, and had a wonderful weekend and everything. I am telling you what, I'm so fed up with winter time. It's been downright cold for the past couple of weeks. I mean, really since Christmas and New Year, which actually has only been a month ago, for Christmas anyways, as of the time that I'm recording this episode. We've only had maybe 1 or 2 days where the temperature has been well above freezing. And when I say well above freezing, I'm talking about like in the you know, upper 40s, low 50s, stuff like that. See, and hang on, bear with me. All right, I've turned traffic off. I know that that's not the traffic. Let me talk about traffic for a little bit. AI traffic is something that has bothered me with all games. Okay, and I realize that in real world situations, and I know I'm going to be preaching to the choir here, and what I mean by that is I know that for the most part, most of you folks are going to agree with me, especially if you've been playing simulation-based games as long as I have, that in the real world, especially in a rural community like this, cars and trucks and stuff, obviously they're used to seeing tractors and other farm equipment and everything on these roads. They're not going to just, unless they're completely rude and obnoxious. I have to be careful about the words that I use. Unless they're completely rude and obnoxious, they're not going to box you in like that. I realized that I could have waited until all the vehicles were clear, but again, on these rural country roads, the speed limit is supposed to be slow enough that even pulling out, and I didn't pull directly out in front of the first vehicle that sort of started the whole fiasco, but I did pull out, and obviously I'm a slow-moving vehicle. I think that truck would have been moving much slower in the real world. Anyway, it just becomes a boxed-in scenario. It's the same thing in ATS and ETS too. That AI vehicles, and again, this is just kind of my opinion, but AI vehicles just sort of behave in such a way that is completely unrealistic to the way that vehicles behave in the real world. And I realize that some people could say, yeah, but it's a challenge. Well, for those of you that are old enough to remember, or maybe you have discovered some of the retro video games and stuff, Frogger was a challenge as well. Getting your little frog across the road and jumping across the logs and trying not to jump and land on an alligator or falling in the water. That's a challenge. That's the type of video game that I would want to play if I want to truly be challenged. I play simulation-based games for the true simulation impact, for what the simulation itself. So in this example, this is a farm simulation game that's about farming, plowing and cultivating, planting, harvesting, tending to animals, baling hay, cutting grass, hauling milk to the dairy, etc., etc. It's not necessarily a driving simulation game. The AI should basically, I don't want them to drive so slow that it makes it almost impossible if you get stuck behind them, because after all, we should be the slow moving traffic, not the cars. But yet, I think in order to satisfy most of the farm sim gamers, the mod developers have sped the traffic up so much so that it's not so painful if you get stuck behind someone. But because of that, because the AI is moving a lot faster than maybe they would in the real world, it sort of generates those problems where you could sit there and wait and wait and wait, and depending on where vehicles spawn on the map, you may sit there for quite some time. It's kind of like you remember when ATS first came out, there was a road, I think it was in maybe Tonopah, somewhere like that, where you'd sit there for forever because there was no intersection, there was no red light intersection, and you would sit there for forever waiting to get across the road if you had to make that one turn. All right, so I need to haul some more milk because we have a lot of milk that we really need to get out and get to the dairy. So I will finish this off camera, and I think what I'm going to do is I'll let this be our screenshot, but I will off camera go and first get rid of that error message that says I need to refill the 900 Vario. And I will just say thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you all so much watching and commenting. And I am so happy to be back on Coldborough Park Farm. I know a couple of episodes ago I was talking about the potential start of a new map and everything, and I really thought that that was going to be the case. You know, should the delay of getting Coldborough Park Farm version 2, should that delay be actually more, you know, longer period of time than what it actually ended up being. But I think when I told you all that, or when I told you all that I was thinking about doing Stevie's new map, I think the very next day I found out that Coldborough Park Farm was actually available, and so I knew that I really wanted to play this map. And you know, I like Stevie's map. And I think I will play it, but I think I will just do that off camera, and it will be just my personal little map that I play whenever I'm not recording or whenever I don't have tasks to do here before, you know, the next episode or whatever. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Sorry I got off on a little rant about the traffic. I'm sure that most of you agree with what I'm saying. There is just a fine line between you know, what I think we want as a challenge versus what we want that more borders a real life simulation. And I think the traffic is just because of the fact that this is not a racing game. This is not, you know, anything like that. I think that the whole traffic concept, maybe even, and this, you know, goes back to Giants, was just sort of a that was sort of an afterthought maybe, and you know, they put it in there, and obviously they give us the option to turn it off, and obviously I had to turn it off to get out of that traffic situation. That to me, it just doesn't make enough difference with having traffic on, because the majority of what you guys are going to see will be, you're not going to see traffic. I mean, we're talking about mowing and plowing and cultivating and seeding and harvesting and tending to the animals. The amount of traffic opportunities that you guys see would be in doing what I'm doing here, hauling milk from the dairy to the sell point. But you know, I'm basically not going to hijack each episode by doing, you know, things that include driving, you know, long distances. If I want to do that, I'll start recording my gameplay in ATS and ETS too. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I'm going to end this episode here because we're knocking on 40 minutes door. And I will finish this off, and we will come back to this exact same game day. It's very early, first day of summer, and lots of stuff to do. So thank you all for watching, and come back again very soon. Bye bye.